Hi everybody, Morgana Galaxia here. Welcome back to my channel. I'm gonna get on today because I want to take a look at the United States and Ukraine and Russia, and also of course the leaders of those three countries, so Biden, Zelensky, and Putin. Okay, so I want to do a big spread to see if we can, kind of dive deep a little and see if we can figure out how these three countries are dealing with each other, just see what information we can pull. Okay, so I'm going to do the three nations and then an extra card for each of the three leaders in this spread here. So let me get into some more shuffling. So, as you know, according to Biden, the invasion has started, right? So Putin gave the commands, the orders to his troops to, begin whatever their plan is over there. So there's been some shelling, some sort of over the border attacks. I don't know that they've necessarily rolled across the border into Ukraine as of yet. I haven't watched TV this morning, so maybe they're already starting that. But, I'm sure you guys have heard this. I'm just trying to, get into the energy a little. We know that Putin gave an address to his nation the other day. I tried to find it on YouTube to watch it myself, and I couldn't find it. But apparently, he was just kind of misrepresenting history, making a claim on Ukraine. A historic claim on Ukraine, whereas I guess Ukraine has always sort of seen themselves as a separate kind of population, different culture. They have a different language, although I know in the border regions, they also speak Russian. The country's basically bilingual, right, with Ukrainian and Russian. But Putin's first move, so to speak, is to sort of carve part of that border, stretch that border in a little bit so he can, take those two regions that he said were those two breakaway regions that he's recognizing as independent. Why? Of course, so he can just swoop them up. And these are probably the more Russian and Russian-speaking areas of Ukraine. So I feel like, if he might have just sat down and tried to renegotiate a border, he might have had some success without having to turn to warfare. But I don't know that he did that. Because, he wants all of Ukraine ultimately. Okay, so we're going to be looking at Biden in the United States, Zelensky in Ukraine, and Putin and Russia. And I scooched you back a little bit because I really want to bring you down for this spread, so let's give it a try. All right. So we're going to start here on this side with the U.S., U.S. I'm laying the cards a little different. Let's do it like this. And then here, this is for Biden. Okay. And in the middle here, we're going to do Ukraine. So Ukraine. And this card here is for Zelensky. And I'm probably running out of room for you guys. Scooch this over. And finally, Russia. And we'll put a little card here for Putin. All right. Interesting. Okay. So we'll start out here with the United States. So, we have the star here. So, the presenting card for the United States with the star is, those typical sayings we've heard: the light of the world, the light of democracy. Everyone around the world sees the United States as this land of opportunity. It's all the good things: hope, optimism, just when you have just opportunity, to do what you want in your life and do what you want in the world, and just having having that sort of optimism. So this is part of the United States' story. You know, we're a beacon, okay? It's that beacon to the world, the beacon to the world. The challenge for the United States is the High Priestess. And this is telling us that for the United States, we have trouble dealing with secrets, hiding things, secret agendas. And, you know, I'm sure a lot of countries deal with this kind of energy, but here in the United States, this is something that our politicians and our military do, right? They hide things from the people. They hide things. And this is so extreme that it's becoming a detriment to the United States. All the things that we're hiding is keeping us back, is, you know, keeping us behind. We're not living up to our fullest potential because there's too many secrets, too many agendas, too much gatekeeping of important information here. So, you know, I'm not getting any particular subject here that this is relating to because it's really just across the board with the United States, whether it's the beginnings of COVID with China, or whether it's, you know, technology or biological sciences, military incursions, what have you. The United States has a big problem with keeping secrets here. Okay, so that's a challenge to the United States. And so what I'm thinking of right now, I understand that the United States intelligence holds a lot of secrets about Putin. And so far, they haven't been spilling the beans. So this could be part of what's keeping the U.S. behind. They're not using all the tools at their disposal because they're still unseen, okay? For the general outcome for the U.S., we've got Six of Pentacles, which is so interesting, this card in this context. So Six of Pentacles tells us, one, you know, this could be a card of charity. The United States currently is trying to figure out how to redistribute its wealth, how to narrow the gap between the elites and the poor. Poverty is a huge problem right now. This is alluding to the charity and all the activism that people are doing to try and balance the wealth in this country. Here's the charity, you know, trying to trickle money down into the hands of the poor. So that is a great meaning for this card for the U.S. That's definitely the higher vibration of this card. Of course, the lower vibration also applies to the United States, and that is the giving and taking of money, the imbalance of power, that the elites trying to stay rich and to, you know, keep the money from the poor. It's the corruption, okay? It's the corruption, you know. These groups get funded, these groups get starved. You know, these politicians get a lot of money rolling in. Other politicians that are more altruistic, that fight for the people, they might not get so funded. You know, it's the corporate greed and, you know, just that whole corruption of the economy that creates the imbalance of wealth that this card is showing us is part of our outcome here, that we need to fix that. We need to figure that out, solve it, rebalance our money. So as a outcome card, you know, which way is it going to go? Are we going to continue with the corruption and the imbalance of wealth, or are we going to attempt to rebalance wealth by trickling that money down to the poor and working classes? So that is the United States' call. That is their, or our, I should say, that is our call. That's what we need to look at and fix to heal our nation. And we have a card here for Biden, the Ace of Cups. So very often Biden shows as the King of Cups or the Knight of Cups for me. But so today he is the Ace of Cups. So this is telling us that Biden has a lot of ideas, and they are ideological and they are compassionate, okay? They have to do with emotion. I'm going to bring this up just a little bit here. So this is telling us that Biden, he's working out of the goodness of his heart. He is compassionate. He wants to kind of dive deep, and just like he's been telling us, right? Restore the soul of America, rebalance America, make us great again. I can't believe that came out of my mouth, but in the best way, right? Power, return power to the people, return wealth to the people, the voting, everything that Biden's trying to do, which is taking time. Look at these moons here, right? There's phases of time involved here. This isn't a quick fix. This isn't going to happen right away. And it's going to take careful monitoring, intentional action. But this new opportunity is there with Biden to get some of these amazing things done that benefit the people, okay? That benefit the people. So that's the U.S. So now, I'm not necessarily seeing a ton about this Ukrainian thing with Putin yet, but let's get there. Okay, so next we're moving in. I'll bring it back down. Next we're moving into Ukraine, okay? And for Ukraine, we're starting off with the Seven of Pentacles. So this has to do with a lot of good hard work that they've been doing. And now they want to reap the rewards of their work. They do have a long history with Russia, and they fought really hard for their sovereignty. And they, went through having democratic elections. They have a president in power. They have their own government. So they have sown a lot of seeds, okay? And it is their right and it's their karma to sow from what they have, to harvest from what they have sown here. So this is part of the meaning of this card. It's karma. You reap what you sow. So it's also about review. You kind of have to really, especially financial review. You really got to look at what you have, what you need, what's not serving you anymore. Cut some things loose, narrow down, what you're spending your money on, wise investments, being frugal and careful so that you can build your wealth and build your resources and build what you have, in the best way possible. So this is how Ukraine is presenting. They have gone through the work to get their sovereign nation and their government in line, and they want to reap the rewards of that by, becoming ever more successful, ever more powerful, ever more stable, and so forth and so on. So Ukraine's challenge is the Eight of Pentacles. So the Eight of Pentacles is really a card of, mastering your work, being very highly productive, being a skilled artisan. Okay, so there, I feel like this card is telling us that Ukraine provides a lot of work for Russia, okay? If Russia's looking at Ukraine, they're like, these people, they make a lot of tanks for us. They grow a lot of food for us. There's a lot of productivity in Ukraine. I'm going to bring this back up. There's a lot of productivity in Ukraine that has benefited Russia, or that Russia wants to be benefited from again. So this is telling us for Ukraine, there's a lot of expertise there. There's a lot of know-how. They're industrious. They're hard workers. And, they're good at what they do, and they produce. And this might be a big part of the reason why Russia wants to bring them back into the fold, so they can benefit from the hard work and productivity and resourcefulness of Ukrainians. So the outcome for Ukraine, outcome from Ukraine is the Four of Wands, okay? So this is a very nice outcome card for them. This has to do with the stability and structure of the family. So I feel like if for an outcome that they're going to be able to maintain a structure. They're going to maintain their foundation. They're going to be able to keep their families together, which is really good. There is a limiting component to this Four of Wands card. It's like, yeah, you might have your home and your structure and your family together, but just, you know, there's not a lot of extra land, extra income, extra this, extra that. There's no affluence here. This is finally getting some stability, finally getting that solid roof over your head, and you're celebrating that achievement, but you're not done. You still got a lot of work to do, right? So for Ukraine, what this card is telling us is they're going to be able to celebrate the fact that they can maintain some stability and maintain their family structures and their community structures here. So I certainly hope that that is their outcome. The card that represents President Zielinski is the Queen of Pentacles. So the Queen of Pentacles would tell us that Zelensky really does want to benefit his nation, be a good leader, be a strong president. He wants to make sure that Ukraine can hold on to their resources, that they don't bleed out to Russia. He wants to make sure that, you know, people are taken care of, that everyone has, you know, the food, the shelter, that the money that they need to survive and to flourish. Okay, so the queen is a very generous queen. She's compassionate, and she wants what's best for her subjects. So this is really a good card for Zelensky. Okay, so let's move on into Russia and Putin. And I won't bring you back down. I'll just hold these cards up for you. I think you get the gist of the spread here. For Russia, we have the Eight of Swords. Oh, so these are the sanctions, you guys. Their own actions have brought about their constriction, their confinement. They're being hemmed in, penned in. These sanctions, especially, you know, they're not doing the business and not being able to kind of get their debt financed, and, you know, just all the sanctions that Biden's administration has put on them, and the European Union as well, in England. Yeah, they are being, they're trying to constrain Russia here. So this is telling us that whatever they're doing is working. Russia is feeling the pressure. They're feeling not confined, they're feeling like restricted, you know, that they don't have freedom of action, freedom of movement. It's their own behaviors are coming back to hurt them, to give them anxiety, to create a punishment of sorts for them. This person who by their own actions has created this confining situation with the hands tied. So a lot of times this is about, you know, being arrested. So I'm not saying that Putin's going to be arrested here. Russia is presenting as if it is being restricted by its own actions, very negative actions here. Russia's challenge is the Hanging Man. Okay, so this is a challenge, which means that Russia has not done what the Hanging Man is recommending for them to do, which is to retreat, rethink, re-strategize, look at things a little differently. That's what the Hanging Man wants them to do. Think about what you're doing. Can you look at this a little differently? You know, do something different. Just kind of, you know, sit back. Like I said, retreat, rethink, reanalyze, re-strategize. That is Russia's challenge, is that this is not being done. So he is foregoing diplomacy and going straight for altercation. Okay, Russia's outcome is the Chariot. So, you know, obviously the Chariot is all about full on rolling into battle. Okay, so yes, we know they're doing this with Ukraine. They're beginning this altercation. But, you know, the challenge with, well, this is an outcome card. It's not the challenge, but this outcome card with the Chariot, you know, things can get a little out of control. You really got to rein these two horses in. And a lot of times you can see with the two colors, they often have divergent goals. And it's really the rider's responsibility to keep them aligned, right? So, for example, in this case, this could be Ukraine and Russia is trying to keep them in line so to continue to move forward. Or it could be parts of the Russian population that agree and don't agree with his strategy in Ukraine. He needs to keep them aligned. So Putin's outcome here is, yes, he wants to move forward. Yes, he wants to keep challenging and move forward into his goals, but it can either fall apart, the wheels can come off the wagon, or he will have to, it takes a great deal of effort to keep this Chariot moving forward here. So for an outcome, I guess it's going to take a great deal of effort for Russia to keep moving forward in this battle. And to look at the card for Putin, we've got the Six of Swords. This is interesting because I know, I've heard some other readers talk about, you know, Putin's fate, but whatever. So Six of Swords is, you know, this is really kind of telling us that Putin's going to have to take what he can get and leave. So he might not get as much land from the Ukraine as he wants. He might have to settle for less than he wanted and kind of just call it a day and retreat. Alternatively, he might have to, you know, if this war kind of rolls forward in a larger way, he might have to be removed from power, or, you know, have to step down or flee the country or something like that. This is definitely a fleeing kind of card. But of course, it could also be fleeing Ukraine, right? So it's either, you know, you have a partial victory in Ukraine, you take what you can and get out. Either that, or Putin might lose his seat as president. Okay, so that's what we've got for these three countries. I just want to pull a clarifying card. Let's see if we can get a little something else on Russia. Is he fleeing Ukraine, or is he fleeing the presidency? All right, let's see. What is Putin going to be running away from? See, he could be running away from, well, you can't run away from sanctions. He's either going to be, it's either this partial victory in Ukraine, or he's losing his seat at the end of it all. So I'm pulling the Two of Pentacles. Two of Pentacles. And that has to do with juggling money from overseas. Okay, so that's overseas, juggling money from overseas. Again, that could go both sides, right? Either, you know, dealing with the economy with Ukraine, or is he going to take, you know, try and set himself up in another country? And the Hermit. Okay, so the Hermit, I'm going to end on that, has to do with isolation. Being removed from other people. You know, you're by yourself. having to rethink what you did. See if you can kind of figure out what went wrong. So I'll just kind of leave it that. As far as Putin is concerned, he's going to have to be cutting his losses and leaving. He is going to be dealing with some money transfers over the border, so between Russia and Ukraine or somewhere else, I don't know. But in the end, he's going to be isolated, unsupported, just trying to figure out what went wrong. That's what I'm getting for Putin there. So I think I'm going to leave it there, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this reading, and I hope you give it a like if you liked it, and a comment if you'd like. Otherwise, I'll see you in a few more days with another reading, and until then, take care. Bye.